no glove last year in the championship. Flashback won 2 games, including a brilliantly pitched 1-0 shutout. And there's a ground ball. Brian Kearns leads off with a base hit, first runner of the ball game. So we're glad you're tuning in wherever you're at. And after this, we'll have the 45's money line, as we've talked about in the past out here. This is a nice league because they have double headers, and they only bring 4 teams out in a night. So you're always going to see somebody twice. And there's a little flip by Joey Agardo out in the right field, handled by Matt Johnston. And we don't see Matt very often for the 45, so a little new face. Brings up Mike Manzella, runner on, 1 out here, top of the first, just underway. We'll get to some rules at the end of this half inning for those of you who might be new tuning into the live stream. So everybody gearing up for that no glove. So these are fairly important ball games. This is the second half of the season out here. The league got divided in half, and Manzella rips it into center field. Brian Kearns is going to cruise into third base. Flash with an early threat. Runners on the corner, only 1 out here. And of course, these 2 teams have done just about everything you can do in 16-inch softball, and very storied programs, to say the least. So here comes Vito Ivanit, and that ball is going to be just out of play by about 7 or 8 feet down that line. They play the fence line. There are no fences, so it's all you can get if you pump one in an alley.
That's a tough job. Get a real job.
Guys, please.
Keep going over there. He's got a tough job, guys. Get him the dog.
So we're back to playing softball here.
I'll go with
So these games tend to be important. And there's a hard ground ball. Jeff Mastari gets a hand on it, throws to second, and gets the force out. Mike Manzella, normally a very quick base runner. That ball was bouncing around a little bit, but they still managed to get the fielder's choice. Run does score, 1-0 Flashback. And here's Steph McLaren. And we're seeing Bo Filkins on the hill. We haven't really seen him pitch much. Israel Sanchez hurt a leg a couple of weeks ago. They've had J-Rob out here doing a lot of their pitching, including 2 wins last night. And there's a base hit by McLaren, and Vito will cruise into third. So runners on the corner, 2 out, brings up Ryan Russ. Oh, excuse me, Anthony Stacy. Umpire called it illegal. The shadows could be a problem. We still got a little sun cruising in here, and you can see those long shadows. Now, Bo doesn't pitch a lot. He keeps moving, and there's a swing and a fair ball down the line, and it's going to roll out of play, so McLaren will have to come back to third, ground rule double. So what you want to do as a pitcher, because you do get with the no-glove game a drag step, 1 step left, right, or back, you want to kind of jump to your right or toward third base and try to line that shadow up to home plate and make it a little rougher on a hitter to get a good look at the ball. So now Ryan Russ comes up.
Hey, come down a couple.
No, I'm fine.
Oh, we're good. Holy shit.
You're on deck, then.
So Flashback now, second and third here with 2 outs. Looking to put up a bigger crooked number. They got 2 already. And that pitch is a little deep.
Hey, take over your picture.
45's did beat Flashback last night out in Forest Park, 6-5. And Ryan goes the opposite way, long run, but Chuck Regaldo runs it down. But in the inning, they push a pair across. We'll head to the bottom of the first, and we'll run through some rules for all of you who are new to the stream. This is Chicago-style 16-inch softball. We use a 16-inch clincher. It is not a mush ball. Pretty firm out of the box. It can do damage if you don't know what you're doing. 60-foot bases. You can lead off, but you can't steal. 38 feet from the rubber to the point of home plate. 6-12 on the arc. I believe they're playing open cut tonight. Pitcher gets that aforesaid drag step. 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to deliver the pitch to the plate. Throw or fake to a base is one of those fakes or hesitations. We use heavy bats. They can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, and 2 1/4 on the barrel. So you're pretty much up to speed right now. And we are at the Veterans Park District out here in Melrose Park. They're big supporters of the SSA. We run a lot of events out here. Tucked into a residential neighborhood. They got 2 fields, this one and the one on the far end. And you got Moneyline and Signature playing down there. And it looks like Signature's taking an early 2-0 lead in the top of the first. So here's Anthony Sanchez leading off for the 45's. His father's going to make the long walk to coach third base, Israel. And there's a little chopper over to Vito at short center, and he throws it a little wide there. He had all kinds of time. Vito's a lot of times has a lower arm slot. Kind of threw a screwball over there. Shane Lawler, looking up in the sun, didn't have much chance.
Stop fighting like shoot stuff.
This is going to bring up PJ Raines. And Mike Marasovic. Co-MVP last year at the No Glove with Joey Agardo, the shortstop for Flash. And PJ Raines dumps it into right center field for a base hit. Sanchez is going to stop at third. Stand up double for Raines. So again, with nobody out, Israel Sanchez not taking any chances. Brings up Nate Mercado. Of course, Nate, one of the best two-way shortstops and players in the game. But on this particular game, you've got a lot of terrific players, as these are a couple of the best teams in 16-inch. And there's a soft, short fly ball, and you could hear the Flash guys yelling third base. And the big teams will do that. They won't waste the throw to allow the secondary runner to move up. PJ Raines pretty quick. He's probably going to score on a base hit, but by not being on third, he can't score on a fly ball or an infield hit or just a routine ground out. Take it easy, Spags. So here's Vince Sacy. Vince hasn't played as much as when he was back in his Signature days. the last couple of the years, I should say.
Throw the shortstop out. Throw the shortstop out. And the catcher.
So here's Vince Sacy now on the reset, and Vince dumps a nice polite hit, and PJ Raines ran through a stop sign. He did kind of look over his shoulder, though, and he noticed that Ryan Russ was going to throw the ball to second, so he just kept going.
He yells at Phoenix to drop the ball, stop your fucked up.
And here's Jeff Mastari, of course, his father, one of the best shortstops to ever play the game. And his dad and his mom tend to make most of his games. As they're leaning up against the fence down there in the red, you can see his father, Frank Mastari. And Jeff is very young, but he's got all the tools to be a good one. And we're very high on him. Tall kid, got a lot of pop, but he's also capable of taking a little something off. And so 1 out, we're now 2-2 here in the first. 45 still threatening. And now it's a full count. Well, Scott, I imagine George is at his condo downtown. And there's a line drive. Myers got 2 hands on it, but he couldn't make the catch. And the ball got into center field. So he did everything right. He timed it. Just couldn't hold on as he was stretching and jumping to his right. Brings up Chris Lentine now. And for you A teams out there, we did put the flyer up. You want to take a look at that. That Class A Glove National Championship tournament does fill up. It is the biggest 16-inch softball tournament in the country, so make sure you give Anthony Tyler a call and make sure Anthony's got you on the team list. There's a little ground ball, and it hits Jeff Mastari. So Vince will have to go back. And Chris Lentine will get credit for a hit on that. I think Jeff was trying to time it, but the ball didn't stay down. It bounced up, and he got hit in the leg. So it's still first and second, only 2 outs now. And it brings up Bo Filkins. Of course, Bo, part of that Filkins family, and he walks the dog down the right field line. 1 run is in. Here comes Lentine. He's going to turn and burn. Now the throw gets away, but he was already shutting it down. 45s have taken a 3-2 lead here. So Bo Filkins walks the dog down the right field line for an RBI single. It is on our Facebook page. It should be the post right before the live stream post. So you can punch that up and get all the details. August 10th is the deadline for entry. And the reason why we push the entry date is, of course, we'll be doing Game Changer. And there's a little ground ball by Adam Haas, and that'll end the inning. But the 45s answer the deuce with a 3 spot, and they take the lead as we head to the top of the second. Pleasant day here in Chicago. Temperatures in the 70s. We do have a little light breeze, and it feels like it's blowing out toward left and center. So anything hit up in the air may get a little boost. So leading off is going to be Denny Lawler. It'll be followed by Mike Meyer and then Shane Lawler as we cruise into the top of the second here. And then he swings right off of Bo Filkins, and the ball got deflected and rolled into center field for a base hit. Looked like Joe Pauly might have been in line to make a play there, as it looked like he had a beat on it, but it ended up being deflected. Brings up Mike Myers. Now Mike had a little bit of an issue on his pinky hair and pinky finger and missed a lot of time, so he just started playing again recently, and he is just now starting to round into shape a little bit. George, do me a favor, don't put links up. I'm not sure they make it through because we got it set up not to allow links to be posted. But they can stroll down right before this game. It's right on the Facebook. So Mike Myers is a big piece. I thought last year Flashback was on their way to that no-glove title. Him and Ryan Russ were spectacular throughout the entire tournament. And the rumor is that the short center Vito is going to be out of town. And there's a line drive knocked down by Filkins to Pauly to Haas. They do get the fielder's choice. Mike Myers hustling down the line. Beats the relay. So 1 out. Good ball there by Meyer. And it brings up Shane Lawler. So you can tell the lefties seem like the sun might be a little bit more of an effect because they're opened up to it in that batter's box. And Shane pounds it on the ground over to Raines, over to Pauly, not in time at first. So back-to-back fielders' choices. Flashback has not moved that leadoff single, and there's now 2 outs here. Well, in softball, sometimes they say the guy pooched the ball over there. But you really actually hear walk the dog more in pool, P-O-O-L. When somebody cuts a pool ball and they run it straight down a rail, they call that walking the dog in pool as well. And there's a little pop-up, and that'll be the 3rd out. So the leadoff single goes for that. We'll head to the bottom of the 2nd. 45's lead by 1.
What's up, Jimmy?
So we're working on something. We might have an announcement for all of you tomorrow that I think you guys are all going to like. And we're keeping our fingers crossed. We'll see if it comes to fruition or not. That's what we call a teaser. So leading off, it's going to be Joe Pauly. Then it'll be Matt Johnston. And then Chuck Regaldo. Bottom 3rd of the 45 lineup. Nice to see CC tuning in. So very early in this one. And it looks like, well, I could be mistaken down there because now Signature's leading 4-0 over Moneyline, bottom of the 2nd. And Pauly swings, he goes the other way. Steph McLaren puts it away for out number 1. So Flash missing a couple of people. No Danny Dispenza or Justin Smykowski today. And I haven't seen Danny Villarreal in a while. I don't know if he's injured for the 45's. So here's Johnston. And he rips it right down the line. Stacy with the clean catch, long throw in time. So nice play by Stacy. He was deep over here, stayed down on it. Caught it clean, made a good long, strong throw. Brings up Chuck Regaldo. Leadoff man Anthony Sanchez on deck. And there's a swing and a line drive, so Chuck Regaldo keeps the inning alive as he just hammers a single right up the middle for a base hit. Brings up Anthony Sanchez. So it's very interesting when you look at teams and their styles of play. I think there are some teams that just rely on their bats and trying to beat you to death. And when Flashback is more of that type of a team, they want to kind of get the bats going on you. And they kind of want to score a ton of runs. They are capable of catching the ball. But realistically, when they have their whole squad here, they're looking to score runs. 45's have got some very good hitters, but they play a beautiful style of softball. They usually suffocate you on defense. They don't give you anything. And they're very good at winning close games. And Anthony Sanchez, Mike Myers climbs the ladder that time and holds on. Mike caught a couple of line drives last night in very athletic fashion out at Forest Park. So we head to the top of the third, 3-0. So I got my eye on Joey Agardo tonight, who's going to be leading off, or excuse me, hitting second this inning. Joey, since he got here, has always hit first or second in the lineup, but he had a little bit of a quad injury earlier in the year, and it's taken him kind of a long time to get back into the swing of things. And I'm sure Flashback is hoping that he rounds back into shape. He got a couple of hits last night, and that would be huge for this Flashback team. Takes a strike there. And both teams doing what 16-inch players unfortunately do a little too much of, barking at the umpire. And there's a swing, and Bo Filkins knocks it down, makes the play at first for out number one. So Bo's been in a little bit of a shooting gallery so far in this ball game. And it brings up Joey Agardo. Of course, Iggy played on that Chicago Dynasty team for a long time. And they started losing a couple of players the last few years. A little roller up the middle. P.J. Raines, low throw. Haas can't come up with it.
You gotta kick it, Iggy. Kick it.
And they're all telling Iggy he should have kicked it down the right field line. And I'll tell you a story about that from my younger days. So it brings up Mike Manzella. P.J. Raines actually made a nice play. He's an outfielder by trade. And then he tried to do a little sidearm Manny Trio flip, And there's a little ground ball, little bobble there, and he can't make the play on it, just couldn't find the ears. And as a result, a couple of base runners here with one out for Flashback for Vito. So now they're going to pinch courtesy run, for Manzella. Pitch a little outside. Vito hammers it to center. That's going to drop. Iggy's going to take the turn. They're going to send him, and he'll score to tie the ball game at 3. Kearns hustles into third. Runners on the corner now. We're all tied up at 3-3 in the third. A little symmetry. So here's Steph McLaren. Opportunity here for Flashback to reclaim the lead. Takes that pitch a little inside. Takes a strike there. And there's illegal because Bo Filkins did not present the ball. He just caught it and threw it. You do have to make a token effort. And he calls that pitch illegal. He tried to pull a Steve Batnich and had two hands on the ball. And Steph pounds it right at Haas. Over to Paulie. No chance for a double play. Fourth run does score, and we've got a lead change. So we're in the third. We've had a couple of lead changes. Brings up Anthony Stacy. 2 outs now at first. McLaren, good speed. And there's a towering fly ball. Johnston is there, and he makes the catch. But Flashback pushes across 2. They reclaim the lead, 4-3. So I'll tell you my story about that situation with Mike Manzella when the ball was kind of in his feet, made contact with it. 2002, we're playing the Storm out in Bourbonnais for the Class A National Championship, and we're in the if game. And I hit a ball up the middle. Second baseman did a great job to get a hand on it, knock it down. Kind of corkscrewed his body through to first. And it was a very similar throw. It was kind of in the dirt. And I'm not saying I kicked the ball, but it did roll a long way down the right field line. And as I'm trying to pick up my third base coach to figure out if I should stop at second or go to third, he's standing there like a tree. So I get to third, having missed second by about 8 or 9 inches. So I'm looking at the second base umpire, and he's staring a hole through me. And nobody on the Storm saw it. Here's P.J. Raines leading off. And their pitcher, Woody, goes ahead and delivers the next pitch. And I take my hat off and wipe my brow. And the third base coach is like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I missed." And P.J. Kearns got there but couldn't make the catch. P.J. leads off at first base. And he says, "What's wrong with you?" I told him I missed second base by 6 or 8 inches. "Why'd you do that?" "Because you're not giving me any guidance." And I'm looking over my shoulder, and I missed it. I look back at the second base umpire. It was a big dude named Brown out of Arizona. And he's just shaking his head. So that might have been potentially the most embarrassing thing that might ever happen to me. And Nate Mercado, little cut, drops it in front of Ryan Russ. P.J. Raines had to make sure it was going to fall, so he'll have to stop at second. The 45's punching right back here. They put their first couple of hitters on here, nobody out. And they got first and second for Vince Sacy, who cut a ball down the left field line his last time up. And Vince is difficult to defend because he has that ball. That's going to be way out of play. But he can also go and drive the ball when he needs to. And that's really where the separation and the classes and the divisions show up. When you get to the major level, guys got 2 or 3 pretty good swings. A lot of them have good, strong drive swings. And then they're able to either cut or push the ball. And that makes it very difficult to defend, especially when you can use both sides of the field. So here's Stacey. And that time he just muscles up and pounds it to the hole. 45's tied the game at 4. Still nobody out here. Unfortunately, at the major level, sometimes the fact that guys have more than one swing gets in the way, because they'll get in the box and they'll start looking around. And Jeff Mastari unloads. He hits a high towering fly ball. Russ tracks it down. That will score a run. Stacey will go to second. 5-4. Another lead change. So the 45s respond right away, and they put a couple of runs up. And that's going to bring up Chris Lentine. So as I was saying, you get guys that sit in the box, and they look around. As a manager, you just start shaking your head. And there's a ground ball. Moji couldn't get it. Joey Agardo, long throw, safe. And Shane Lawler might have made a little bit of a mistake there. He just was standing vertical, waiting for the throw to get to him. And Chris Lentine is left-handed. If you're Shane there, you want to kind of lean forward and stretch a little bit and make that play. And had he done that, they probably would have gotten him. Here's Bo Filkins. And Bo Filkins scalds one at Stacey. He steps, he throws, double play. Pitcher's best friend showed up. Stacey made a great play. Wicked one-hopper. Took it right into his midsection. Stepped on the bag and threw a strike to first. I like what he did. It's kind of like the old days when you played short center and you got that ground ball and you moved to the bag. You wanted to hit the base with your front foot as you were getting ready to throw. And he had a lot of gas on it. And it looks like Joe Pish, who got here a little late, is here now. So we'll see where they use Pish. No John Zawoski here, so the only backup pitcher would be either Will Russ or Jeff Hernandez. So it's going to be Ryan Russ, Denny Lawler, and Mike Meyer here. And here's a little ground ball off of Bo Filkins. P.J. Raines has no play.
Come on, Dan.
Ryan Russ
Last out.
leads off with a base hit, so here comes Flashback now. These teams are just kind of rolling back and forth on each other. This game's shaping up to be one of those games where you want to have the hammer, for sure. We are in the top of the 4th, Lee.
Here we go.
Nobody out, 5-4, 45s.
The other one. Let's talk about that kick. Let's talk about that kick last night.
Of course, Bobby Jr.
Messi.
is relentless. And there, Denny Lawler slashes a hit. Ryan Russ had to make sure it got through. And the ball was hit about 1.5 feet in front of him. So he made sure he didn't get hit and that Adam Haas didn't snag it. So Flashback a little bit of a rally now, first and second. And the one thing these two teams will do, like many of the major teams, their lineups tend to be so deep that they can start innings really from any part of their lineup. Mike takes a strike there. And there's a little ground ball, and that's a mistake. That's inexperience. And McLaren will get to third. We're all tied at 5. So earlier in the game, it looked like Bo got his hand on a ball that Joe Pauly was going to catch. That ball was hit up the middle on the right side, and he pulled his hand away. The problem was Pauly was playing on the left side, and the ball rolls through. Still nobody out runners at the corners. I used to tell my pitchers, go after everything. And Shane Lawler pumps it. P.J. Raines, and he throws it wide, and they still get it. You don't see a fielder's choice like that. There was a little confusion. Nate Mercado was coming over to cover.
Here, you take a picture of me?
Was coming over to cover. Joe Pauly, who was on that side, was backtracking to get to the bag. PJ threw it to Mercado, and he flipped it to Pauly, and they get the fielder's choice. And now here's Joe Piscitelli hitting for the pitcher, Mike Marasovic. Flash has taken a 6-5 lead now, still only one out. The runner on third. So you would score that 4-6-10 for the fielder's choice. And Piscitelli flares one down the right field line. Pish was working on that ball yesterday. Didn't hit it fair one time. And guys fall in love with swings. That's not where Joe made his name or his reputation. It's going down that line.
It's a little off there, What up, Mike?
And it almost looked like he wanted to take another shot at that. Well, good 16-inch bats, Jason, are a little tough to get. And there's a ground ball, and Pauly can't make the play. He was in pretty good shape, but then he stopped. And when he stopped, the ball jumped up. If he would have come and run through that, he might have had a chance to take it into his midsection. And if you're an infielder, you never really want to be flat-footed catching a ground ball. You always want to have a little momentum, if you can, that is, and you want to be coming forward, and you want to make sure you're in a good position. And top of the lineup now with Kearns. First and second here, 6-5. We are in the top of the fourth. And he tries to cut that right field line. That's out of play. So they're in the fifth down in the other diamond, and money line is trailing, I believe, 5-1. So reset here. Sun stuck behind some trees. Shouldn't be an issue the rest of the day.
How near you, Mike? Going.
Kearns takes that pitch deep. Again, with the no glove coming up, I'm not sure if Israel Sanchez necessarily wants to pitch. He's been taking it easy, trying to heal up a little bit. And Israel has got a lot of mileage on him, to say the least, as he played on some of the terrific 45 teams in the early 2000s that just dominated 16-inch softball. And Kern swings. Chuck Regaldo is there. No tag. 2 outs. And it brings up Joey Agardo. Yeah, you know, back in the day, Jason, you could walk into sporting goods stores here in Chicago and they would have rows and rows of 16-inch bats, all kinds of sizes, weights, barrel lengths. And now you just can't find them. And a lot of these guys are very protective of their bats. And Iggy slashes a hit up the middle. Myers is going to go. Little bobble by Chuck. With 2 outs, he was running on the swing. I don't think Chuck would have had a play. But Flash pushes their 3rd run of the inning across. And that's a good sign. Joey Agardo coming through with a big 2-out hit. Here comes Manzella. So a couple of little bobbles have affected the game. I know Sammy Bertucci was a little banged up, and I don't see. There's a little slow roller coming in as Paulie, but in the inning, Flashback does push 3 across. They reclaim the lead 7-5 halfway through. So the live stream is powered by Gold Rush Gaming. If you're looking to put slots in your establishment, go with the gold standard, go with Gold Rush Gaming. You can give them a call at 630-307-0500, or you can email them at inquiries@goldrushgaming.com and tell them you heard about it on the live stream, and it's the reason why you're giving them a call. And also, please gamble responsibly. So the Chicago Summer Series is in high gear, and the focus is going to shift back to that. Like I said, we may have a big announcement pertaining to that tomorrow. And it's been exciting. Everybody's really getting into it. Flashback currently ranked number 1 in the point standings. And they have really been the most consistent team as they won a tournament, finished 2nd, finished 4th. I think a couple of things that have been surprising about that Summer Series standing is a couple of teams we thought might be doing a little better, struggling out of the game, and Adam Haas tries to go opposite, but there's Ryan Russ right on the spot to make the play. BTA off to a little bit of a slow start, but I'm seeing some good signs from them recently, and I think Circus has not had a bad year. I'd call it a weird year. I think you might have thought they'd be doing slightly better because their roster is just jam-packed with great players. A mini surprise is Signature sitting in the 3 spot, and it's not a surprise from a talent standpoint, but they've got so many new players on that team. And there's a ground ball to Vito, backtracking. See, Vito got himself settled. He took a peek at the runner once he caught it. And Moji, who's been around, knew exactly where his short center was and didn't get in the way. So here's Johnston. I'm going to get off this line. His last time up, he smoked a 1-hopper at Stacy. And he's not really moving in the box. This might be a 12-inch kid. Yeah, he just wants to stand in the box and swing. Vito was there, but he just couldn't secure the ball. And then he wound up with the big hard throw, threw it right into the ground. And that was a real tough play. Vito's got a cannon. And that ball was bounced literally a couple inches in front of Shane Lawler's hands. Chuck Regaldo single center his last time up. And this is a beautiful night if you're playing. It's perfect. No humidity, good temperature. Not a lot of wind. Even the top of the trees aren't moving much. And I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're playing croquet. I think Manzella kicked it to Moji, and he kicked it back at him. And here's Chuck, and he hits a line drive, and Myers makes the catch. And that's a good sign, too. Mike was worried about that pinky, but he must be feeling pretty good if you're going to make that catch literally an inch above the carpet. So money line now, a little bit of a rally. I think they might have just tied the game down there at 5-5 in the fifth. So a little symmetry going on. Although I'm looking through a fence. It could be 6-5 signature. So Vito is going to lead off here. Steph McLaren and then Anthony Stacy.
What's going on? Where's V?
And there's a swing. He got it off the end of the bat, and that might have worked for him as the ball didn't quite carry. And Moneyline, after appearing to be dead in the water, has taken a 6-5 lead down there.
Get your pitch.
Moneyline will fight you. They got some great young players on that team.
Come on, Stefan.
Marty Dozen and Chris Stout, two younger legacy players, playing very well.
Come on, Steph.
And McLaren lifts a high, towering foul ball. Johnston comes in and makes the catch, so Vito will have to stay at first. And my broadcast partner thinks very highly of Moneyline, Mr. Jerry Brown. Here's Stacy. He goes the opposite way. Johnson's there, puts it away for out number 2. So they had the leadoff hit, and they haven't moved them. 2 outs here. Here comes Ryan Russ. And these kind of situations, so far it has not been a high-scoring game, even though there's been a few lead changes. But you just hate to get leadoff singles and not move them. Last time Flash got a leadoff single, they couldn't move the runner. And Ryan, another ball that didn't quite seem like he barreled it up, like he almost got a little bit too much in front, but it fell in, kind of like Vito's ball. And it brings up Denny Lawler. So with 2 outs here.
Going dirty, Larry. Come on, Denny. Come on, CJ Paul, you too.
And here's Denny Lawler. And Denny hits a one-hopper, but right at Paulie. So mini threat goes by the board. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Flashback up a deuce. 7-5 money line now. Still hitting in the bottom of the 5th. So we'll see now if the 45s can respond. So we're in the bottom of the 5th inning here. Looks like they're going to be right at the top of their lineup. Anthony Sanchez, PJ Raines, and Nate Mercado. And Moji's been pitching a pretty good ball game. Bo Filkins hasn't been really, considering we don't see him pitch a lot. He's done a pretty good job. Mike Myers, very rare to see Mike bobble a ground ball. And if we get a chance to show him field a ground ball later in the ball game, if you're a young kid, Mike is usually moving up, and he has a very pronounced mannerism of keeping his head down on the ball as he's catching it. Here's PJ Raines.
Take it out. Go get it. Shane, steal a liner over there, Shane.
Of course, last year PJ was on signature. Came over to the 45s this year. They also picked up Jeff Mastari. And there's a ground ball to Meyer. Over to Vito. That's all they could get. And I hope I got that on film, but you'll see even before he turned to throw to second, that head went right down as he watched the ball all the way into his hands. So 1 on 1 out here. Brings up Nate Mercado.
Make that play, Shane. Just take it out. Won't you get over there for him?
And Nate's a very difficult guy. When he first came up, he was rail thin, but if you see him without a shirt on, he's spent the time to get stronger, and he drives that toward the alley. PJ Raines is going to score. Nate Mercado stand-up double. 7-6. And Nate's gotten a lot stronger. When he first came up, he was just kind of pushing and cutting, and then he started to get stronger, and he started driving the ball. And now you got to respect his power, and with his ability to handle the bat, just a very difficult out. Here's Vince Sacy.
Right.
And there's a little soft spinner. It takes a crazy bounce, and you couldn't have thrown it out there any better. Both Iggy and Vito were chasing it. The ball hit the carpet and just started spinning. Vince Sacy, a tall kid, long strider. So 7-6 here. Runners on the corner for Jeff Mastari. And Mastari goes big toward right center. Steph McLaren, long run. He drops the ball. 1 run is in. Here comes Sacy, and they'll hold him. All tied up at 7. It looked like Steph McLaren was going to make the catch, and then he dropped it. Second and third, still only 1 out, and here comes Chris Lentine. And those are the balls that you got an outfielder. He ran a long way for it. Looked like he was going to make the catch. He just dropped it. And Lentine goes big. That's going to be way out of play. I always say when your infielder makes a mistake, it's like getting nicked with a razor while you're shaving. But when your outfielder makes a error, it's like getting hit in the head with a baseball bat. So Chris Lentine takes that pitch outside. Mike Marasovic trying to pitch out of a jam here.
There you go. It's got to be yours.
With Bo Filkins on deck. And he walks Chris Lentine to load the bases. And it brings up Bo Filkins.
Hey,
We're all tied here. Nothing's been decided so far, bottom of the fifth.
Hit a line, kid. Both sides. Ready back there, man.
Home plate jumping around a little bit here on Mike Marasovic. Moji doesn't normally walk a lot of guys. 21 the count. He doesn't have anywhere to put him. And there's a line drive, and they're going to get a double play, and they're out of the inning. Bo Filkins, second line drive, he's hit up the middle, right into the belly of Mike Marasovic. And they're all laughing. You didn't catch that with your hands. Mo says, yes, I did. But it was pounded. Bases loaded, one out, the line drive double play, and we head to the top of the sixth.
Come on, get to the top.
Meanwhile, looks like it's 7-5 money line on the other diamond in the sixth. Thank you, Jerry Brown. So here's going to be Mike Meyer leading off, then Shane Lawler and Mike Marasovic. And I would assume they're going to let Moji hit. And Meyer, a little soft fly ball, everybody chasing it. Chuck Regaldo takes charge and makes the catch. Split second there, looked like it could be trouble, but it hung up long enough for Chuck Regaldo to cruise under it. Here's Shane Lawler. And Shane pounds it off of Bo Filkins, and that'll be a base hit. So Bo has just been in the shooting gallery all day today. And they're going to hit for the second time for Mike Marasovic. Still Piscitelli takes another swing here. So I don't know, maybe Jeff Hernandez is going to come in the ball game. He did walk down the left field line between innings with the softball. And there's a line drive base hit. So Joe Pish that time didn't fool around with trying to go down the right field line. He just guided it up the middle to the biggest hole on the infield. One out here, first and second for the leadoff man, Brian Kearns. And Kearns tries to go up down that right field line, and Johnston got there but dropped it. He would have been in foul territory, but both runners would have advanced on a catch. And Brian lately is getting into a bad habit. He's hitting too many fly balls. He's usually a guy that is more of a line drive over the infield kind of guy when he's not trying to slap and run. And there he hits it hard and it gets through. Meyer's going to take the turn. Now they hold him last minute. Chuck Regaldo, a good arm, was flying in. Mike Myers would have been out at the plate. So now the bases are loaded for Joey Agardo here, one out. Tie ball game here, top of the sixth. You might hear some of the guys telling them no middle, because if you miss, it tends to be a double play ball. And 45s are a little deceptive. They can put their short center on the other side, because that guy, Nate Mercado, is fantastic, especially ranging up the middle. So if you don't hit it perfect up there, chances are Nate's going to grab it, step on the bag, and maybe get a double play. And there he overhand slaps it. Regaldo's there. He's going to go. This is going to be close. Safe.
Hey, 2 outs. When you get there, Meyer.
And I got to tell you, if you're the on-deck hitter, Mike Manzella, you got to kick that bat out of the way. Had Joey slid in straight up there, he would have been sliding right into a bag. So remember that, kids. If you're on deck and you see that that play's developing, you got to kick that out of there. Like most catchers will kick it out of there because they don't want a guy sliding in and that bat hitting them in the shins. But nobody moved the bat on that play. So big 2-out spot here now for Manzella. Kearns can run. Manzella hits a stretch single here. He's going to have a good opportunity to score from first. And it looks like it could be 9-5 now, money line, as they've starting to get it going down there. Manzella off of Mastari. Everybody's safe. So Pish running on the swing was in the neighborhood.
Hey, V, come on. Hey, Mike, come on. Go out, hey, 2 down.
And that brings up Vito. Bases loaded here. These teams really haven't had much separation the entire ball game. And there's a little ground ball, and Filkins got the fielder's choice. So I don't know what was going on there. That ball was bouncing around a little bit. Bo Filkins very calmly just kind of grabbed a little backhand flip. Joe Pauly was telling him, here, 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 and they work out of it. So a lot of noise for 1 run. And Mike Myers is going to come in and he's going to pitch. Have not seen Mike pitch all that much. So we'll see how this works out. Of course, Pish did get 2 hits while he was in there and was instrumental in that last inning. So Adam Haas going to lead off here. Then it'll be Joe Pauly and Matt Johnston. And Haas lifts a high fly ball. Russ started back. Plenty of time to come in, though, and make the catch. So it looks like it's 9-6 down there in the 7th. Signature hitting. And that's going to bring up Joe Pauly now. 1 out, nobody on.
Michael, follow your home, Mike. Follow your home.
Grabs a strike.
Come on, boys. Come on, boys.
And there's a hard ground ball to Vito. Picks it up. You can see he went back on that. Almost got a bad hop there. He was leading forward. But he makes the play. So here's Matt Johnston. And you can tell he's just basically standing in the box. I think if you were pitching to him, you would just not want to flatten out and throw him a BP type pitch. But when you don't really move in the box, it gets very difficult to hit a 16-inch softball consistently when they change the angle and the height on you. And there, that pitch drops right into his sweet spot, and he dumps it in the center field. So that was a pitch that where it was going to land in the strike zone was easy. So 2 outs now brings up Chuck Regaldo, and again, we are in the bottom of the 6th. If he gets a hit, the top will be up. If not, they'll lead off the bottom of the 7th with their top clean. Okay, thanks for the scouting report, Junior. And Chuck does get a base hit. Johnston cruises into third, runners on the corner. So now with the top of the lineup, 45's got a little something going here. They're more than capable of stringing 2, 3, 4 hits together with this top. So Meyer came in. He got the first 2 without much difficulty. But Matt Johnston and Chuck Regaldo back-to-back singles. And Anthony goes out toward the gap. That's down. 2 runs are going to score. 45s have taken the lead. 9-8. All of this damage with 2 outs. And a base hit here would push it to a 10-8 ball game. And all of a sudden, that signature is at 9-8 with 2 outs in the 7th down there. And actually, Signature's taken a 10-9 lead. And there's a ground ball base hit. 10-8. So the 45, some fantastic 2-out hitting. They've thrown a 3 spot up here with 2 outs. And they're not done yet, as Nate Mercado and Vince Sacy. Like I said, the 45s are just, you know, they're a little, they got some guys playing out of position tonight, but their defense so far has been okay. But they just seem to have that ability to win close games. And there's a slash to center. Kearns runs in. Might have heard Nate scream. I think he was trying to just hit a little semi-line drive into center. So we head to a do or die top of the 7th. For Flashback, they trail by 2. Need 2 to keep the game going, 3 to take a lead. Anything less, and the 45s will have beaten them on back-to-back nights. It's now 12-9. So Signature, who was down 9-5 at one point, scored 7 unanswered and taken the lead on money line on the other diamond.
Anthony, get your sisters off the field. Will they go shopping? No, I got three. Wait, you talking about my wife or what?
So here in the top of the 7, Steph McLaren, Anthony Stacy, and Ryan Russ. And Bobby Russ always trying to stir the pot a little bit. He could teach a master class in how to trash talk without being vile. And if you're flashback, you need a base runner here to be dangerous. And he reaches for a pitch. Chuck comes in, makes the catch. And Stacy goes, Chuck having a busy seventh, puts that away. So the 45's an out away from winning the game.
Hey, give us a chance. Why? Let's go. You're done. Hey, middle.
Ryan Russ. And he hits a little ground ball, long way for P.J. Raines. And Adam Haas stretching out there, can't make the play. Looked like Adam got out a little bit on that front foot a little early. P.J. Raines' throw wasn't quite where he thought it was going to be, and he got a little twisted up there. As a first baseman, you gotta hang back and stretch when the ball's in the air so you can manipulate your feet and not get tangled up like that. So Denny Lawler now trying to extend the game for Mike Meyer.
Outside the inside.
Come on, Chris. How did it cross on the left there?
Inside, outside too.
Takes that pitch short. And there's a walk, and that's the one thing you don't want to do. They should be courtesy running for Denny Lawler, Steph McLaren, and here's Mike Meyer. Now McLaren will be running on the swing. You don't really think of Mike as being a power guy. And they are kind of squeezing him just a little bit in the outfield. Shane Lawler on deck. And that's deep, so home plate jumping around all of a sudden. Catches a strike there. Drops a strike in there. Full count. And there they go. And Myers a little ground ball. Paulie long quick throw in the dirt, and Adam Haas secures it. Mini threat in the top of the seventh. 45's hang on. They beat Flashback 10-8. So we're going to be back with Moneyline 45's in a bit. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We'll talk to you in a few.